27-year-old Danny and his girlfriend Theo go to a bar and pretend to be strangers. They were interrupted by Danny's friend Karl. Theo found rolleplaying hot and makes out with Danny. They then went back home to have sex. Danny woke up to get some snack and heard noise coming from the living room. It's Karl, he's playing a video game. Danny then loudly plays the fictional fighting game Striking Vipers with Karl as their preferred characters Lance and Roxette, respectively. This wakes Theo up. This were Danny's good old days. 11 years later, Danny hosts a barbecue at his house with Theo, to whom he is married and has a 5-year-old child. A guest greeted him happy birthday and asked for his age. He's 38 years old now. Karl went to visit Danny, who he has fallen out of contact with. Theo is busy with cooking for the guests when the doorbell rang. It's Karl. They greeted each other and told him that Danny is out back. Theo then looked herself at the mirror, cleaned herself up and looked dissatisfied with herself. Danny was distracted by a visitor's ass crack and burned some of his barbecue. Danny and Karl hugged and gave him a birthday present, Striking Vipers X, the series' newest installment, and the virtual reality kit needed to play it. Karl told him that the game will blow his mind. They had beer and Karl complimented Theo that she's still fit and that at least one of them had a gym membership. They had conversation about relationships. Danny is thankful that he is settled and not have to keep up with younger men. While Karl shows him a younger woman he is currently seeing named Mariella. Theo interrupted them. Karl then showed her Mariella. She thought nothing of it as it's classic Karl. Theo advised Danny that he should hang out more with Karl. Karl and Mariella then had a date. He made a joke about how a guy looks like an athlete from decades ago, but she did not get the reference and have to search him in the internet as she is too young for him. That night, Danny and Theo planned on having sex, but too tired to do it. Contrast to Karl, who's still getting laid but feels unfulfilled. Danny played a video game. When he saw an invite from Karl to play Striking Vipers, they both used the VR attachments. It gives full experience and sensations of the characters they chose to play, including pain. Karl plays as Roxette and Danny as Lance. After a bout of fighting, which induces real pain, they fall onto each other. Karl as Roxette kisses Danny as Lance, but Danny pulls away after a few seconds and they exit the game. They both reflect on what happened. Danny even had a heart-on and had sex with his wife. They carry on like nothing happened. Theo have to go out, Danny and the kids are left at home. While Karl is on by himself. Danny was invited again by Karl to play Striking Vipers. They told their excuses that they're drunk, that's why it happened. They play again, but instead of fighting, they had sex in-game. Feeling the pleasure their characters are having. Dee is at a party and saw a couple making out when her lift arrived. In-game, they joked how they're gay now and was interrupted by Danny's son. The next morning, Danny and Theo thought they were pregnant. Over the next few weeks, Danny and Karl regularly have sex in the game in the characters' bodies, and Theo notices that Danny is becoming withdrawn and no longer has sex with her, even though they have been trying to have a baby. It's their wedding anniversary. Someone came near to Theo asking if he can buy her a drink, but she shows him her wedding ring. The guy then left her alone. Theo and Danny had a dinner. She confronts him on their wedding anniversary and asks if he is having an affair. She even told him the guy that hit on her earlier. Danny ignored Karl's invitation, even keeping the VR attachments. Danny calls Karl and told him that he is done and they need to stop playing the game. 7 months later. Karl got a bad streak in life. Theo got pregnant and at Danny's next birthday, Theo invites Karl to dinner as a surprise. Karl reveals to Danny that he has been unable to recreate the emotions or experiences with computer-controlled characters or other players. Before leaving, Karl told Danny that he'll be online at midnight. Danny wakes up and the pair enter the game and have passionate sex. Afterwards, Karl says I love you and that broke the code. Danny arranges for them to meet in real life and kiss in their normal bodies, but both of them say that there is no feeling there. Karl argues they should continue seeing each other in the game but Danny disagrees and an ensuing fight is broken up by the police. Theo picks up Danny from the police station and is enraged at his silence about what caused the fight. Danny finally starts to admit the truth. On July 14th, as the three have agreed, Danny plays Striking Vipers X with Karl, while Theo goes to the bar without her wedding ring to meet a stranger. This is what happens when you roleplay so hard. And that's the recap for today. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Thank you.